give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Don't watch our show, get rid of sponsors. And time to start, enjoy the show.
Welcome in, everyone. How you doing? It's Monday, the 30th of December. You with Steve Wyss and Jack Wright on Betting Weekly Live. How was your Christmas, Jack? I hope you didn't have too much sherry, too much Christmas pudding.
I can tell you I had 0 sherry. It was a 0-0 draw. No Christmas pudding either. Unders backers having the time of their lives. Yeah. How about you? A bit of eggnog? I can see some eggnog on your Christmas menu.
It was quite quiet. I enjoyed the beef I had for on Christmas Day that I cooked. But yeah,
beef on the table, not with a wife, I take it.
It was actually quite a relaxing couple of days. It was the way it fell this year. You know, it was right in the middle of a weekday, wasn't it? Yeah. Sometimes when it's backed onto a weekend, it can be a longer extension or whatever. So it felt kind of short and sweet, but quite good. I hope everyone had a really good Christmas. Ming Jung says, Happy New Year, gentlemen. I had to look at the date then. I don't know what time zone you're in, Ming, but it's not the New Year here quite yet. Well, we wish you a Happy New Year when it comes around. Yeah. The Kingsley,
Happy Easter.
To see you, Foxy. Felix as well, Rick, Duncan, good to see you. Brian as well. But yeah, the betting never stops, though, does it? That's the thing, Jack.
No.
This is a crazy period. A bit of a weird period, actually. Like tomorrow, there's nothing on in terms of on the day. You know, today we've got plenty of spicy games. Wednesday goes mental. It's one of them periods. I hope everyone's watched the Premier League show, the Betting Weekly Extra Time European show. We've got tennis content out as well. ATP Tour, WTA Tour. Sean Calvert already off to a brilliant start. That guy.
And water is wet.
It's absolutely indeed. Do check those out. Sean and Rory are going to be on Betting Weekly Live at the end of this week. An appearance from both of them. So get any questions for them live that you want. Thursday and Friday they're going to be on. But yes, the interesting thing, Jack, is we've got 6 units staked tonight on Premier League and Betting Weekly Extra Time show combined official play. So there's a lot at stake for both of our regular shows today. We're going to start things off with the Premier League. We've got Aston Villa, Brighton, Ipswich, Chelsea, Manchester United, Newcastle. Now, for those who already watched the show, you've already broken those games down with Nigel and Dan. But I've tasked you with coming up with some sort of extra bets and player prop angles, leans, and that. I've got my thoughts as well. We're going to start with Aston Villa, Brighton. And Aston Villa are plus money here to beat a Brighton side that have not been winning that many games of late. Plus 106 for Villa. Brighton plus 250 now. Over 2.5 goals at minus 159. The big team news is obviously Duran is suspended. Watkins comes in. I quite liked Nigel's angle there on the show. Ollie Watkins to score here. He can actually get him to score or assist as well at minus 103. Has been known to provide goals. Going to have a point to prove. So that was I like that as an angle, as in terms of a player prop. In terms of the match here, Brighton, I think, are a difficult team to assess here, but I know quite a few do like Villa to bounce back in this match, Jack.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. Yeah, they were minus money when that was my lean on the show, and I thought there was a good spot for them, an extra day's rest as opposed to Brighton. Obviously, Brighton played out that 0-0 draw. So the day after, Villa got beat by Newcastle. I'm trying to make sure I've got these games right. There's been so many over the last sort of week, 10 days, isn't there? But I think that's what happened. But anyway, it was certainly another day anyway. And I think they could take advantage of that. And we know Villa are a real special side at home at Villa Park. It's going to be really tough for Brighton to go there and get anything. And I think I've mentioned it on the YouTube channel. I mentioned it in the show as well. We've been quite good in recent weeks as far as picking the spots for Villa. And we've both backed them and opposed them in recent weeks and generally got it right. So I think you like getting them on side when they're at home. They're a little bit more vulnerable when they're away. So Watkins had dried up, but Duran had come in and kind of stole his thunder a little bit, hadn't he? To prove he could do it from the start and not just be a super sub. And now Watkins has got the chance to say, I am still the main man. So I agree with you and say with Nigel that he has got a big point to prove. When you know he's got a good striker, that's a great angle to take into this one. So shots on target from him and obviously goals as well. So I like Villa, especially at plus money. I don't know what something I might well have missed as far as that is concerned, why they would have drifted to plus money now. But yeah, I'm happy to take them on, unless someone come in the comments to let me know something drastic has happened that I've missed, but I don't think so.
The problem I've got with Brighton, and there's quite a few teams fall into this category at the moment, actually, is I think they're quite a lot of hot air. They look nice in golfing terms. Tee to green, they do pretty well, but then perhaps in both boxes they have problems, especially in the attacking box. Sometimes, I mean, we talk about shots. I'm going to talk about shots now. That match against Brentford, and they must have racked up 20 shots in the game, maybe more on their own. Yeah. But you sometimes just never really felt they were going to score. And I looked at match shots here. It's a prop line I do like to look in. 26.5 is the match line here. The Brighton shots individually could be worth a look at. Over 12.5 Brighton shots, because they're just quite wasteful with their opportunities. I think they like to have a go. And there's a player that you think's worth targeting in the player props market here.
Yes, there is. Yeah, I've gone with Matoma here. Plays out on the left-hand side. Attack for Brighton. Very tricky, very good, pretty consistent player as well. Matty Cash suspended for this one, who would have been, or he has been, Villa's right back over the last few weeks. My guess is they will move Konsa from the centre of defence to right back, where he has played before, but it's not his natural position. And I think Matoma is one of those players that is a ball carrier. He's tricky, he's pacey, he's direct, and that's not the kind of player that you want to makeshift full back, right wing back, whatever he's going to be playing tonight in that situation. They might keep him at centre back and bring another reserve in as far as the right back place is concerned. Whatever it is, I'd like to attack that area where there's that kind of reshuffle, and when it's one of the opposition's best players in Matoma, then even more so. Over 1.5 shots is my play in this at minus 124. 34 shots across the league campaign so far this season in 18 appearances. He's only played 1,519 minutes, which is something I like to look into. When you see appearances, you can get a little bit sloppy with that. But if you do break it down into the minutes, that actually works out exactly at 45 minutes per shot. So if he stays on for the 90 here and does his average, we're going to cash a ticket at over 1.5 shots at minus 124. 2 or more in each of his last 3. He failed to have 1 shot in 2 of those 18 appearances. So always gives you a good chance. And I say in that area, as you say, I think Brighton are those sides that need to have a lot of shots to get a goal or 2. And I think they'll definitely need to get at least 1 to take anything from this fixture tonight.
Yeah. Mitoma on his own, he cuts inside, doesn't he? And he's not shy of having an attempt. He has quite a lot of block shots, does Mitoma. Just looking through the comments now, quite a lot of interest in the darts, Jack. Bunting minus 1.5, says Nigel. I watched a bit of the darts. Humphreys knocked out last night. That was a huge shock. Peter Wright rolling back the years, snake bite there. Shakespeare's got a play. Come in very early here, Shakespeare, with a play. Normally he leaves it late, but San Francisco plus 3.5. Minus 115, worth a unit on the half unit as well from the money line, plus 163 in the NFL. And there's a few darts comments around that as well. Simon makes a good point about the extra day of rest, which at this time of year can be important. Foxy likes under 12.5 Brighton shots. That's a good stat about Villa not conceding that many at home. I mean, one thing I say with Villa is it does my head in if I'm ever on the goals or something. Emi Martinez takes forever to release the ball sometimes or pass the ball. He waits, doesn't he, for the team to come and press him. And I think the average number of time taken for goal kicks and releasing the ball, I think only Manchester City average higher, bizarrely, than Villa on a stat I read recently. So that does my head in. They sometimes do slow the pace down a bit. The other thing is I do wonder, will Brighton, they've been so wasteful, will the manager say just wait for better opportunities? But the way I see them at the minute, they just seem frantic and they just seem desperate. Everyone seems desperate to score. So I think they're going to fire away, to be honest with you, Jack. But
and they need points. They've slipped away a bit, haven't they? And the managers basically come out and said they've got to get start picking things up. They have had a dip in form, but as we've said, a really, really tough place to go. And I think at plus money, it was, I say, only a lean on the show, but it was very close to being an official play for me. So I might be having, in the famous words of a wise man that I once known, don't be a moron, get more on.
Giuseppe says, I'm not impressed by Brighton as a team, and I can see his point there. I think, again, it's substantiability, backbone. Have they really got enough of it? Winston Churchill, is that a swimming pool behind you in the background, Jack? I mean, it does look rather exclusive there behind you. Nice plant as well in the background.
Yeah, no, people wonder if my plants are real. They are obviously absolutely 100% real. No danger of that. I wouldn't be doing anything so shady as having a fake background. So, people are loving the backdrop. So it keeps the heat off me looking any half tidy, does it? Especially this time of year. So, enjoy the view.
Yeah, enjoy the dip in the pool.
Right. Later.
Well, give me a correct score prediction for a Villa Brighton, Jack. We're at it. I'm going to say 2-1 to us, 3-1 to Aston Villa. I'm going to say.
3-1 was what I was going to say. So I'm going to go for 3-2.
3-2 to Aston Villa. Ipswich against Chelsea, which is, I mean, of the 3 Premier League games, this is the one that had the least interest for me today. I've got to be honest. Chelsea minus 305 now, actually. There's a slight typo on there. Ipswich are not away from home here. They are at home, and they're plus 800 now. Chelsea are minus 305. Over 3.5 goals is at plus 114. I would maybe go under here, actually. If I had to have a free $10 bet, I'd maybe go under 3.5 goals at minus 141, because I watched how Ipswich played against Arsenal the other day, and they were happy to lose 1-0, keep it tight, be respectful. Don't get beaten big, stay in the race. And is that a similar sort of game here, or do Ipswich have to come out and have a go more?
It's a little bit different. I saw that graphic was Ipswich versus Ipswich. They might get something out of that one. It'd be the rare occasion where they probably would do this season, but it will be a little bit different because, of course, they're at home. So when you're away, you've kind of just got that ability to be a bit more dogged, a little bit more defensive, and not offer too much. And again, you've got to be a little bit sensible. Unlike some of the sides we've seen, Ipswich, I think, have tried to be a bit more sensible and mix up their usual style of play to something a little bit more pragmatic, a little bit more defensive. You'd obviously want to try and get something out of every single game, but going away to Arsenal, only losing 1-0. So, it was saves a bit of face, doesn't it? And avoids them piling up that negative goal difference. So I think they will have to come out a little bit more at home. But when you look through it, and I broke down the stats on the Betting Weekly Premier League show earlier in the week, that they don't tend to have too many goals at Portman Road this season. Their goals of games have been more prolific away from home. The last one they did lose 4-0. That's the first time they've had a little bit of a shellacking at home. So Chelsea, of course, have got the firepower to do that. We know all about them, and they're obviously looking to bounce back from that terrible result against Fulham, where they conceded that late goal. And I think it was the first home defeat to Fulham since 1979. So it was, one of those opportunities now to bounce back. And so you'd expect them to take it at Ipswich. And I'm with you, really. I'd look to be going on the underside of goals rather than the overside.
Foxy asked, do I think over 18.5 shots for Chelsea looks high? I do, Foxy, because I just don't see this being a frantic sort of game. I think it's going to be quite slow paced. The tempo might be slow. Chelsea might have to be patient a little bit. Quite a low block. And, it might take something maybe a little bit special, a long range shot goal to sort of break the deadlock. And maybe this might tie into your player prop angle for the game, Jackie. You got a player that you're looking to have a shot on target here.
Indeed, yeah. I was just seeing what Chelsea's average shots per game. Foxy's probably beat me to it. He's already got the ammunition. He's got the stats up his sleeve already. He's on fire. 14.6 away from home is their average. Chelsea, I think Ipswich average quite high concession rate at home because they played the likes of Man City and Liverpool early on in the season, didn't they? So they've kind of hung into games, which has kind of led to that number being higher. So the longer it goes on, the more shots they'll get. But yeah, if it follows a pattern, I think he's on one there for certain. Yeah, my angle here is Enzo Fernandez, who's certainly come back into the side. Obviously, a lot of money that they spent on him. They probably a few signings ago now, wasn't it? But at the time, World Cup winner, they went and spent big on him. Not quite been able to produce what we'd seen from him previously, but I think up till recently, he's certainly now been in proper good form. And he's also seemingly getting in the right place at the right time for a few shots. So I've gone for Enzo Fernandez shot on target here, over 0.5. So just one is all is needed, plus 135. Again, for anyone new to the kind of prop market, that can be a goal that will count as a shot on target, or the goalkeeper has to make a save, obviously, which a shot which is on target going in. He started his last 7 games under Maresca, and he's had a shot in target in 6 of those as well, including each of his last 4. So he's getting that real consistency going. And again, we've talked about it. You expect Chelsea to have a lot of the ball tonight, a lot of attack. And with the likes they've got across that front line, it might well need one of their deeper line players like Fernandez to break, get around the edge of the box and pick up the loose pieces, or arrive late into the box to have a chance. So that's why I like that. Normally, when you've got a side that's going to kind of be sort of packed out in defence, potentially some of the ones you would normally go to might well be picked up, and the others can kind of arrive late at the right time, right place, right time, and get a shot on target. So he certainly got it in the locker there as far as his last few games. So yeah, plus 135 I think is a really decent price for Fernandez to have a shot on target.
Yeah, I think that's a fair call, actually, Jack, in this sort of game. I quite like Nigel's angle on Cole Palmer, score anytime, minus 106. I looked at Cole Palmer to score or assist. That's minus 186. So that was just a bit too short for me, really. I mean, if it was minus 150, I think I would have gone with that. But I don't get why Cole Palmer's a shorter price to score anytime than Nicholas Jackson. I mean, he's on the penalties. He's going to be on the free kicks. I'm not saying Jacko can't score here. Minus 110, Nicholas Jackson.
Jacko, eh?
Well, yeah. I do like to give my certain players nicknames, but minus 110, Nicholas Jackson. That's not bad either. But Cole Palmer for me, if I was to take a scorer, I think 2-0 Chelsea. I think Brian's got a good point there. Chelsea to win the second half. Definitely, I think I could see them coming on stronger in. Yeah, Palmer outside the box, maybe someone to score from any goal from outside the box, Duncan. How about the corners in this game, Jack? Over 10.5, says Disky.
So it's all there, isn't it? Duncan's point there, I think was it Duncan who said about outside the box, kind of echoes what I was saying. You're looking at players that are going to pick up the scraps from a ball into the box where it breaks, and then you've got the strike from outside the box, or so arriving late when the box is full and that cut back for the strike from outside the box. So and I think Fernandez is the guy, but I say Palmer will pick up those pockets of space really nicely. That's bought me enough time to try and answer that question about corners. I think that's a fair shout. I say this is a game you would expect Ipswich to make it tough for Chelsea, and whenever you've got a dominant side, a real minus money favourite up against a side that can keep it tight, then that does bring corners into the game. And also Ipswich do like to play with a fair amount of width. For Mari Hutchinson on one side, they're probably their key player for them. Comes down the left-hand side, the left back who is involved in all the set pieces and likes to fire crosses into the box, Lee Davis. So that is, another angle to attack. But I'd be quite interested in Chelsea corners in this one, breaking that down as well. So, I think that angle is another decent one.
Florence Nightingale, good to see you. As always, I don't know much about soccer, but I've noticed how rough it is. What's the worst injury to a soccer player that you can remember? And Duncan is my answer here. David Buss, Coventry Man United, about 96, was it? I think he had horrible. Like 20 or 30 operations he had to have on his leg. I mean, there's probably some... Yeah, there's probably some out there which are actually worse in terms of, you see some pics, don't you, and videos of like a bone literally hanging out off of someone's. So I'm sure there's some other terrible ones out there as well.
Boost was the one, in it?
Yeah.
His leg shattered basically, didn't it? And like people couldn't even look at it. It was absolutely horrific. But the American football ones, I remembered there was one, I think maybe from the 80s or 90s as well, where his leg basically bent underneath him on the artificial turf, and that was pretty horrific. But yeah, the Boost one, I think in soccer is the one that I think, yeah, I'm trying to think of a worse one. I probably can't. I'll come back to you if I can. But yeah, I think Duncan takes the top answer on Family Fortunes there with the David Boost broken leg.
Yeah, I think it was just unfortunate as well. Challenging in the box from a corner, and people going for the ball. A really bad one, which was deliberate, was Roy Keane on Arfinger Haaland. No doubt about that. That ended his career pretty much.
Yeah.
That was a bad deliberate one. Peter Cech's head injury. Yeah, he was never. I think he was never quite the same after that head injury.
No, he wasn't. And that's reminded me, a horrific one. I watched it live actually. Was Jimenez for Fulham against Arsenal?
Oh, he skull cracked, didn't it?
Yeah,
literally. Yeah. Gee.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he was wearing a skull cap when he he's only just stopped wearing it, and he went from a skull cap to a thick headband.
Yes.
Now he's finally able not to wear that. So that was he was nasty.
Crikey, this show's turned into the ER room, hasn't it?
Thanks, Lawrence.
Yes, right. Let's see. Dan Robert, a different injury ended Haaland's career. That's debatable, Dan. I think the challenge from Roy Keane was very, very bad. That's the point I'm making there.
I think he means Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland's career was ended by Dan Roebuck taking $100 off me and Nigel in a private bet on the show. So yeah,
Dan's cashed, hasn't he? Hasn't Dan cashed?
Yeah, he's cashed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cashed that. Yeah. Hence why I'm on the show today. I've got to earn a bit more money just to try and pay him off. So I'm doing the dishes later at the restaurant down the road.
Cleaning that swimming pool out. Let's see what
the owners of this house we live in, when they realise I'm here, tell you, if they recognise it on the show, I'll be in trouble. I need to get out.
We're talking about units play here, and this is when the serious stuff starts, because for those who watch the Premier League show will know Jack's got a 2-unit play on Newcastle straight up on the money line. Nigel's weighed in as well with his 1-unit play on the show. That's what the 1-unit play from the Premier League show is today. I mean, I thought Newcastle right now would be a shorter price. They're actually plus 155 on the money line. Manchester United are plus 170. Now, at the time of kickoff, which is going to be 3 p.m. Eastern, I could see Newcastle being back because no one likes Manchester United here at all. I can't make a case for Manchester United at all. Can anyone in chat honestly make a case for Manchester United to get a result here? I mean, at very least, I think Newcastle draw no bet has to be a bet. They're in horrible form.
Steve, no one likes Man United from where you're from. That's for certain.
Well, you'd be surprised actually. Half of Yorkshire supports Man United. Genuinely, it does. It's crazy.
Give it time.
But we know your thoughts on the game.
We talked about this on the show, Steve. Sorry, we talked about this on the show, weren't they? And I put in our chat, obviously, when I put my selections forward, it was plus 150 for Man United and for Newcastle. By the time we recorded the show, they'd come into plus 143, which is obviously what we recorded our selections at. And now out to, would you say, was that plus 160? It's we talked about whether they would be money for United. Yeah,
come kickoff, I could see Newcastle being plus 140. I could honestly see it because I just think there's really no case for Man United here. We know your thoughts on that. If you want to listen to Jack and Nigel's, they had a big breakdown of the game on the Premier League show, so do watch it. We've got you on for an extra angle here, so a player prop angle. You're going down the Newcastle line. You had multiple players here.
Multiple, yeah. Everyone's have a shot. There's a couple of angles of attack that I like here. Down the sides for Man United is a bit of a weakness, and especially down their left. So Newcastle's right, but that's Jacob Murphy down that hand side, who obviously a player I know quite well came through the Norwich City Academy. Does blow a little bit hot and cold. He's been in very, very good form the last 3 weeks, which on my experience of him would suggest that probably we're going to get a cold performance quite soon. So I've focused on the other side. I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, actually, that having seen all this going on the other side of the pitch, it's about time that Anthony Gordon stepped up. And lo and behold, he scored a goal in that 3-0 opening goal, actually, in that 3-0 win over Aston Villa. So looking at the odds on those players that are expected to score goals or do particularly well, there's not a lot you can get excited about. So what I have done, because I think I think Man United could concede a lot of shots here. I think on the break, Newcastle are pretty lethal. They've got a lot of energy, which Manchester United haven't got. They've obviously got no Bruno Fernandes tonight of Man United. They've got no Agate who holds them together there. So it's going to be Mainu on his own, really, to be honest, up against this Newcastle midfield. And I think there could be so many areas of attack for Newcastle. What I've gone is I've actually put Alexander Isak, we know is in absolutely sensational form at this moment in time, with Anthony Gordon. Both have at least one shot on target. And that comes in at plus money, plus 140. I think that's a nice angle if you want to go for the main guys for Newcastle. Obviously, they've got very good chances of scoring against this United side, but I've just gone for the shot on target because that's what we were looking at for this particular show. Just a few stats for you. Isak, 11 goals in 16 games now. Superb stuff. Scored in his last 5 and a total of 7 goals in that period of time as well. Since he returned to the team in October, he's had at least one shot on target in 9 of those 11 fixtures, totaling 21 shots on target across, say, those 11 games. So really good form, brilliant striker. And I say he's certainly in peak form at this moment, and he could have a field day against Manchester United. As for Gordon, a shot on target in each of his last 5 league games, 6 of his last 7, and 11 of his last 13. So he's pretty reliable for having at least a shot on target, even if he hasn't been scoring the goals that someone like Isak has scored. But sticking both together, as I say, a shot on target for both of them, plus 140 is nice. The other area I've gone for is Man United's absolutely inability to defend set pieces. I'm not going for someone to score direct from a corner to make it 3 in like 6 games, but I think they will struggle. They've conceded, I think it's 5 goals under Amorim from set pieces. They've conceded the most goals from set pieces across the season as a whole so far, the highest percentage of goals conceded by a team coming from set pieces. And the obvious threat here, I looked at Fabian Schär, who also sometimes pops up on free kicks, but he's quite been sought out in the market. A player that doesn't have too many shots, but I think could have a good opportunity tonight. He's about 6'7". I've gone for Dan Burn, coming up from centre back from these set pieces, the wide free kicks and the corners, and he's plus money just to have a shot. So plus 118 for over 0.5 shots. That obviously means the shot can go anywhere. Header going like 10 yards over the bar or sticking one in the top corner. It matters not. It can even be a block shot. Doesn't even have to be saved or go even that close to the goal. And I think that's a brilliant opportunity for a side that are brilliant at set pieces. They've got Lewis Hall on one side, Kieran Trippier on the other side, plus a few of their other players, obviously like Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes as well. The list is endless. I think, say, Newcastle are in such a good spot at this moment in time against a side who are in a death spiral. You've got to take every positive angle. And I know, I think it was Foxy mentioned it already, that that you get a bit wary when you're looking at two sides that you think, well, there's only one team in this, and you get a little bit wary about following, say, the public money and going with the obvious play. But sometimes obvious is best, and I think it is tonight.
No, I agree. I think obvious sometimes is the best. And the only reason that Newcastle are these odds are because, really, Manchester United's reputation. Simple as that, in my opinion. And, Amorim's still, he's new in the job. Sometimes there's blind faith in that sort of thing. Just looking through the comments, I really, there's not much in terms of any sort of Man United positive. Dean Blake says, when it seems obvious, it's always a bad sign. United winning coming. That's always the fear in the back of your mind, isn't it? When something looks so good to be true and something goes wrong. Jacob Murphy, I think he's a big player for Newcastle, Murphy, You've said there he's hot and cold and, the Katy Perry of football or whatever. But, I think he's more hot than cold. I think he's becoming more consistent is a better way of me to say it. I think last season he was up and down.
Steve, I was talking about this yesterday. I was at the Norwich game. I was talking to a couple of people that I know about the Murphy twins and the comparative career paths. And Josh Murphy was always regarded as the better player when they were 18, 19 years old. They were in the academy. We won the Youth Cup with them in the side. And everyone expected Josh to be the player that went on and done it. He's now playing at Portsmouth in the Championship. He's gone via Cardiff, gone to Oxford, gone to Portsmouth. It's not really worked out for him, and he's looking for a home that he can fire. Jacob Murphy got sold to Newcastle, stayed there, and he's done absolutely sensationally. He has, and it's been a bit of a surprise. And I think he's probably in the best form of his time at Newcastle, and he's certainly a confidence player, and that at the moment is very high with him. So absolutely would love to see him have a great game tonight. Of course I would.
I'm on Newcastle's draw no bet myself. To be honest, I think you guys are on it though with the money line. Really, sometimes you've got to have the balls to go with when the value's there, and I think you've absolutely nailed it there. I really like Isak to score or assist at plus 108. Isak and Watkins are the two guys in the Premier League I'm looking to have big nights this evening, I think. And there's people mentioning there to score a hat trick. Isak. One thing I'll say there for Foxy, the goal line. Sometimes Eddie Howe can go into his shell in away games. He's a result manager deep down. He likes to put on a show at home, but if you offered Eddie Howe 1-0 win now, you'd take it. Sometimes he can shut the game down when even their own fans are saying, get more goals. Let's leap on a team where they're down a bit. So, but I like more what I've seen from Eddie Howe of late. I think he's almost like been realised, hold on, I need to get results here in style. The Ipswich result was a good one. That was unlike Newcastle away from home to actually rack up the score. So, go on, Jack.
Put my hand out now, look. But conscious not talking over you there. But Lewis Hall, I mentioned him in passing. I just thought I'd check out to see what his price for an assist was. Now, check on Team News for this. Wait on this. This is not going to move, so there's no need to get on early, he says. Lewis Hall is plus 1,100 for an assist tonight. And could be on their set pieces. He's the left back, but he'll be very advanced. He'll look to get in. He'll look to get those crosses in the box as well. Just got his first England cap, didn't he, earlier this year? So really come in and kind of settled into this spot now. So that for me, I was scrolling down thinking, have I missed him? Has he not been listed? But he's there. Only Johnny Evans is a bigger price to have an assist than Lewis Hall. So for me, if you're looking for a real, outsider, a real hot dog tonight, then that would be an angle I would be interested in.
There's a Premier League fantasy football league that I'm in, quite a serious one, and a lot of my rivals have had Lewis Hall in their side for a while. They've annoyed. Yeah. They've had some great. They've had like Trent in there, Timber, and here's me with Joe Gomez, who goes off injured after 40 minutes yesterday. I don't even get the clean sheet bonus, so you can bet your bottom dollar that Hall gets something here. Right, okay.
Yeah. We've only 2 assists this season, but he did have one a couple of games ago. So just quickly looking through to see. He's been starting now consistently. So he started the last 13 games and, like I said, had an assist 2 games ago. Generally completes the 90 minutes. The lowest amount of time he's had in those games, which is another key factor when you're playing the props market, is 83 minutes at Brentford 4 games ago. So, a solid at that price. You're looking at a big price there. I think a solid alternative if we're expecting lots of goals, because he could well be involved.
0-0 or 1-0, Man United are in trouble here, aren't we? But let's hope Newcastle deliver on the expectations. I think there's a lot of people lumping on Newcastle for good reason today. Best of luck, whatever you're taking in that match. We move on. There's more games today. We've got a League 2 match, AFC Wimbledon Gillingham. I don't think we've got anything on that game, Jack, have we? Unless I missed something there. In Serie A, we've got Como Lecce. Got James Easton's hot dog in that game on Betting Weekly Extra Time. He has gone with the visitors in that. So do check it out. Bologna Circle Bruges. But what's going on with this today? It's not Circle Bruges. It's Bologna against.
Someone's been on the Serie. That weren't me.
It's Bologna against Hellas Verona. Bologna are minus 245 now. The tie's at plus 325 and Hellas Verona is plus 700.
I fancy Circle Bruges in this one.
My 2-unit play of this round in Italy is Bologna on the -1 Asian handicap. I quite like the minus 1.25 as well. You yourself have got a couple of angles.
Capital letters. Dan Roebuck.
You've got
capital letters. But
Dan's actually been in good form of late. He nailed that under in the Palace Bournemouth game over Christmas. Fair play. You've got a couple of angles for this game as well. You've done a bit of research for it, Jack. Player props and also a Bologna angle. Take us through that.
I'd say I like Bologna here. Both seem to score. No, they're obviously a short price. You've gone down the route of the Asian line. Absolutely solid as they come. I've gone Bologna, and both teams to score no. So in essence, a win to nil, and that's minus 103. Only conceded 3 goals at home so far this season. Unbeaten in the last 4. The winning 3 of those, 3 clean sheets in those wins as well. So it all stacks up nicely. They won 6 of the last 8 head-to-heads at home as well. And Verona lost 5 of the last 6, conceded 40 in the Serie A as well, which is the most in the entire division. So, yeah, I fancy a cozy Bologna win in this one, and I'm mad at it with the fact that they win to nil. What was your price on your -1?
Minus 118. And but I did say on the show I would take minus 1.25 Asian handicap as well if it's knocking on the door of evens. And I'm just looking at the latest Asian lines now. Because I think win to nil might be a better bet than minus 1.25 actually, but minus 1.25 is at plus 102. I think that's a juicy price. Minus 136 on the -1 Asian. Verona have lost more games than any other side in Serie A. The only team not to get a draw yet, which that worries me. Like in my head, Neil Channing had a great point on the dojo 2 or 3 dojos ago, where you've got to forget that sort of thing. But at some point they will surely get a draw soon. Hopefully it's not today. The other match I mentioned on the show that I had a lean of under 2.25 goals, and this might be the 0-0. I did look at the under 0.5 goals in the game, effectively 0-0 at plus 900 for the Como Lecce game. Main reason really that Como they're underachieving in front of goal, that you can't trust them to score. Lecce haven't offered a lot this year, but they've got a new manager. James Easton likes Lecce here. He's on the he's tying a bet on the visitors here for his hot dog. Como are minus 152 on Como. They're another team. Simon's made a good point. They look quite good. You watch them play and you think, Cesc Fabregas has got something good going here, like what I'm seeing. But they don't always transfer it into results. And it's just, sometimes that can happen with promoted teams. One win in about 12, which came against Roma, who've been struggling this year. So, I certainly like Bologna, obviously, in this game. I think that is what I did task you with, Jack. We've got a full round of English games on New Year's Day. So I thought, while you're here, we'll quiz you on some bets. You've got to pick for us in each of the leagues. Championship, League 1, League 2. Rattle through them.
Yeah, I won't go into too much detail about them. It's kind of fairly self-explanatory why I'm going for them. The first one in the Championship is for Burnley to win. And again, both teams to score no. So a win to nil, which is something they're very good at doing. And they're home to Stoke here. So people will possibly get put off by that, by the fact that Stoke sacked their manager, Narcis Pelak, a few days ago now. I think it was Christmas Eve, actually. Happy Christmas to you, Narcis. They then actually got a win at the weekend, or yesterday, sorry. So that might put people off. For me, Burnley are just a side that just don't concede goals. That Scott Parker's gone in there. He's done exceptionally well, probably as expected, but they've only conceded 9 goals in 24 games this season, which is a truly incredible record. In the Championship, when you go weekend, midweek, more it seems more times than anyone else. They are sensational. They're unbeaten at home. They've only conceded 4 goals as well at home. And I just think they'll have too much for this Stoke side and probably win it 1-0, 2-0, as they do. A player there, by the way, I've been putting up a lot and backing a lot myself recently. And sometimes these get priced by Bet Rivers, and I haven't checked yet, but probably not. Josh Brownhill has been superbly consistent for a shot on target and is generally plus money. Because of the game, he might not quite be there. But if he is anything around minus 120 or better, I'd take Josh Brownhill for a shot on target. Into League One, I've gone for Charlton away at Crawley. Charlton have picked up some decent form. They're plus money away at Crawley as well. We mentioned Crawley a few times so far this season. I think they were the live game, weren't they? Last time we were on, home to Burnley.
Offered very little, didn't they, in that game?
Yeah.
We thought they would anyway, but they just looked limited to me. Crawley?
Absolutely. Yeah, down in the relegation zone. I mentioned them last time. They were the relegation favourites for League Two last season and got promoted with Scott Lindsay in charge. He's since left and gone to the MK Dons. They've got Rob Elliott, who's doing a fair job with what resources he's got. They are in the relegation zone, though. They picked up a 4-4 draw, clutched from the jaws of victory, 4-1 up, and ended up drawing 4-4 away at Exeter. That ended a run of 3 straight defeats. But Charlton, under your favourite man, I've only put them in because you can do your Bananarama cover version. Nathan Jones, 3 straight wins for him, and Charlton are getting back to where they're expected to be. They're expected to be challenging this season, and they're now 9th on 33 points, just 4 points outside the playoffs, off the back of 3 successive wins. And they beat the league leaders, or who were the league leaders until recently, Wickham, at the weekend. Yesterday. I keep saying the weekend, it's like yesterday. So yeah, that's them. I think they were a good price at plus money, plus 104. And the final one is possibly I'm doing this a little bit with my heart here and my wallet. I've gone for Crewe to beat Carlisle. Now Crewe, I'm on for promotion at 66-1, and they're 6th in the table at the minute. They just had a little bit of a wobble. There's no winning 3. They've drawn, but they've had some tough games. They drew away at the MK Dons yesterday. But they're at home. This is a massive opportunity for them this time round. They're only 1 point off second place, so they know a win here will probably lift them up 2 or 3 places. And they take on Carlisle, who did win yesterday. They beat Accrington, but generally have been in terrible form. They're 1 off the bottom, so in the relegation zone. They're on course for back-to-back relegations, and I did tip them at the start of the season to be relegated at 20-1, and that's looking good at the moment as well. So for me, at minus 108 on a single, Crewe to win, happy days. Get them up closer to my 66-1 to get promoted, and push Carlisle closer to relegation at 20-1 is the perfect result. But that's my tip or best bet in League Two for New Year's Day.
Burnley win to 0, Charlton, and then Crewe. A nice treble there. And you're right, I'm a big fan of Nathan Jones, actually. Do rate him as a boss. A lot. He's a good one, isn't he, with the song Bananarama? Has some good hits, by the way. And as for Stoke, I heard I didn't. Very good. Do you know what? This is awful. I didn't even really know the name of their manager before we played him on Boxing Day.
Bananarama.
No, the Stokes manager. I knew they had a foreign coach, but honestly, they have so many. I mean, it was Steven Schumacher, wasn't it? Last season. They thought, they thought maybe they could they're in pole position with him, but that didn't work out, did it? The puns.
Always a shoe-in, is it?
Anyway, brilliant show there, Jack. Appreciate your time as always. Some great angles going into the games today, and let's hope we can cash in on some winners across the board. But best of luck whatever you're taking. Byron's come in there and said Tonali plus 650 for an assist. Wow.
Do you know what? I was scrolling through on BetRivers website there, all the options for the assists. There are some really, really. I was thinking, like that. There's a lot there. Tonali being one of them. So have a little look on there. Go over to the BetRivers website, and you can have a field day on the assist market there. There's seriously good options.
Brandon, the chances of that happening there, Watkins Prime and Isak goal or assist is high. It's high, I would say. I mean, I don't know what that would pay as a parlay. But I certainly love all 3 to perform today. I think they come up with the goods for sure. But back tomorrow on Betting Weekly Live. RJ is going to join me on the card. We've got RJ back to back, actually, New Year's Day as well. But Jack, until next week, actually, I think next Tuesday we might be on, me and you. And then the back end of the week. Remember, we've got our tennis handicappers on the show. Rory and Sean. Follow and subscribe to the newsletter. Let me just quickly put the link there. If I can find this, here we are. And also do check out the tennis shows that are out, the ATP Tour and WCA. It's all happening. All the content keeps coming thick and fast. We've got the countdown to the Australian Open, which is very, very exciting. The first Grand Slam of the season. Sean started off on fire. So thanks again, Jack. Remember, gamble responsibly, everyone. Good luck, whatever you're taking. I'll see you tomorrow on Betting Weekly Live. Take care.